Minnesota fans, the NFL is still buzzing after that epic win over the Bills in overtime. The Minnesota Vikings get it done, and right now they're doing something that nobody expected. This team continues to win games. This team is 8-1. This team has won 7 games in a row, and they should be taken as a serious Super Bowl contender. What's going on, everyone? Red Zone Rosano here, back with another video. Drop a like on this video. It does help the algorithm a ton. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new, plus ring the bell for more videos just like this. The other Vikings video that I dropped did great, so I just want to thank Vikings fans for coming through. If you guys want to see more NFL content all season long and Vikings content, definitely subscribe. Red Zone Rosano, your place for all things football. The Minnesota Vikings entered Week 10 with a stranglehold on first place in the NFC North. But despite a 7-1 record, they weren't getting a lot of run as a realistic threat to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Part of the reason was the lack of a statement win. Minnesota's victory over the Dolphins in Miami came with 2 on the shelf, and then Minnesota was throttled by the Eagles in Philadelphia in Week 2. After storming back in the second half to knock off the Bills 33-30 in overtime, the Vikings have that signature win now. And while the Vikings have issues, taking out the Bills, deemed to be the team to beat in the AFC, and a legit Super Bowl contender for a 7th straight victory, cements this Vikings team as a force to be reckoned with. The Vikings have made a habit of living dangerously, though. Minnesota hasn't won by double digits since Week 1, and there have been a number of comeback victories a part of this winning streak. Sunday was no different. When Minnesota fell back 27-10 in the third quarter, it looked like the Bills were going to just blow them out. But as has been the case all season long, there was no quit in this Vikings team. They scratched and clawed their way back into the game, and with a minute left, they faced a 4th and goal from the half-yard line with a chance to take the lead, and then madness ensued. Kirk Cousins gets stuffed, looked like the game was over at that point. Josh Allen, on the very next snap, attempted a sneak his way out of the end zone, but botched the exchange, and it was recovered in the end zone by the Vikings as the Vikings scored the touchdown. But then Josh Allen goes down the field, gets the Bills into field goal range, the Bills tie it up. Now we're in overtime. And then in overtime, the Vikings get the ball first. It looked like they're going to score a touchdown. Bills defense stands on its head. It forces the Vikings to settle for a field goal, and Josh Allen has another chance. And with the way that Bills drive was looking in OT, it looked like the Bills were just going to march their way down and score the touchdown for the win. But Josh Allen gets intercepted in the end zone by Patrick Peterson, his 2nd interception of the day, which sealed the deal on one of the wildest wins in recent memory, arguably one of the biggest Vikings wins in franchise history. And while speaking to Pam Oliver of Fox Sports after the game, Cousins credited the team for rallying around one another. And I quote, "It was a team win. All 8 of our wins have been that way. We beat ourselves up, and then we find a way to claw back. We stay together. It's a tough team, and we keep showing it. We are battle tested. Would like to win a little bit more convincingly than this, and there's so much to get better at, but thrilled to come out with a victory against a really good football team," close quote. And that's the thing I want to talk about here. The Vikings have heart. This is a team that's never out of a ball game. This is a team that's not just going to lay over and say, okay, we'll get them next Sunday. This is a team that brings their best every single week, and although some of these wins are not pretty, are not convincing blowout type of wins, they're wins. It doesn't matter how you win in the National Football League as long as you get it done. And Sunday was an example of the Vikings not winning pretty, but winning and doing it in comeback fashion. Now let's go back to Cousins. There has been a long narrative surrounding him that while he can pile up the stats against bad teams, he's not the same quarterback in primetime games or against really good opponents like the Buffalo Bills. And in some respects, Cousins' performance against the Bills did feed into that narrative. Cousins did throw for 357 yards, completed just 60% of his passes, and posted a quarterback rating of 71.8 and did throw a pair of interceptions. But, as has been the case all season, when one Vikings player falters, another steps up. And on Sunday, it was Cousins' top two weapons who picked up the slack. First, running back Dalvin Cook was outstanding against one of the best run defense in the league. Cook carried the ball just 14 times, but he piled up an impressive 119 yards, doing so, including an 81-yard touchdown run, which in my opinion really shifted the momentum of this game. And then as good as Cook was against the Bills, Justin Jefferson was awesome. He was dominant, and he made arguably the greatest catch of all time on a 4th and 18. Jefferson did this against a Bills defense that was just allowing over 210 passing yards a game. Unbelievable. The Vikings defense, they did their part as well. Yes, Minnesota's 29th ranked defense allowed a whopping 486 yards of offense and 30 points, but it's hardly unusual for the Bills to light up an opposing defense. And the Vikings also sacked Allen twice and notched 4 takeaways. That's tough to do against an elite quarterback like Josh Allen. That's the Minnesota defense in a nutshell. All season, the Vikings have allowed a lot of yards, but they rank in the top half of the league in points allowed. And they are tied with the Eagles for the most takeaway in the NFL with 18 and ranked 10th in the NFL with 26 sacks. Minnesota bends, but they do not break, as they showed in Sunday's win. Even in victory, the Vikings still did show some issues that they gotta correct if they want to indeed make a deep Super Bowl run. And for all the firepower the Vikings have offensively, at some point, it's going to come down to Cousins having to rewrite that narrative surrounding him to come up big when the pressure is at its highest. And Cousins isn't necessarily the best quarterback in the league, but for all the flack that Cousins gets, he's a very capable veteran. Cook and Jefferson are top 5 options at their position. The Vikings have an above average offensive line, a pair of excellent pass rushers, and they have a defense that makes good on every opportunity that they get. The Vikings have demonstrated now that they can go on the road and win a big game. This is indeed a Super Bowl contender in my eyes. The Minnesota Vikings have to be taken seriously the rest of the way. Nobody expected the Vikings to storm out of the season the way that they have. And you better believe this is a team that is going to be a tough opponent come playoff time. The Vikings have officially put everybody on notice, and it's time to realize what this team is doing. That is it for me, guys. If you enjoyed this video, again, please hit the like button on the vid. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please ring the bell. Share this video as well. We're trying to get the watch time hours up on this channel, so that would be greatly appreciated. Again, make sure you guys come through if you like NFL content. This is your place to be. Red Zone Rosano, all things NFL. As always, thank you so much for watching. This is Red Zone Rosano signing off, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.